Purchase your track today.
May I say, yeah, to us on a pay a day amount. Ivan show innocent acts and assent, and then, yeah, starting a discussion, so on a pay a topic, you know, yeah, share the bit to me, a do who and come on. Innocent, what are they? And yeah, you shall see, and I said, you could weekend, and I sent, you know, last weekend, basically, week, you were saying.
I mean, my hotel, that is the most important.
Anyway, wiki the name of baby. Because a lot has happened. And see, you better your bona yashing now, so yet made the home come ye. Now, you better see a free Tamale High Court ruling a buyer from for Pandai rerun. I think I know last week I discussed it. Emma, the minority protest or more ye. You who the call so a chamber a year that was on Tuesday. Distract government business and yeah, the NRA and electoral commission Emma date of 30th December say omobe court rerun nti okay kan nyina ebo
yeah my mencha what here for no pay na menka say on this particular subject on Pandai a lot of discussions akoso I think yes it's good say you try to situate some of the nearby akoso during our elections, you know, in a contest going forward. We may have elections today. Misunderstandings may pop up, but the ultimate outcome, no party back winning, you know, we try to overlook it because and this are when majority. So let's move on. But what if the same mistake occasion in a very tight elections? I know the day, you know. So one is the reason why some of these things are very critical, and I think SEA use as basis to rewrite the mistakes in our electoral process and going forward. You know, some of these things will not happen. Yeah, when I know Obaa sorry, I say Benin, cool asi, Guinea-Bissau, cool asi, and yes, I people who have consistently become so much frustrated about the raptures of government and the way the machinery of government and they are running our mind. For that matter, and people feel so the only way I was able to take a pound of flesh is to just engage in some of these things. Say about a two abiding fruits by force. Because you go through fair foul means and so let us have it our way. And some of these things and serve as a lesson for us as Ghana. The torchbearer when it comes to democracy and democratic practices over the years. I'm free honor. You lead the way properly. Say you bet me a such a good example. Now I'm for her. It is in that particular note, and I'm free said this particular way, very important because this elections here, because we are better how can I say 2020 elections, 2024 election were frauded with a lot of infractions, a lot of electoral commission here near be a sebi. So in Ghana for na sebi yeti democracy as na yeti ahwase a ebi anisa nke yeti hanka ye kasa asumbiemi. But yet to abanu the people free say SA court. No, nipa no are dissatisfied with the election they call court. Eko catch the court to say. Nearman na court during the elections, you know. Flout to all the electoral rules. And the person was able to adduce evidence convincing to the court. And a court to the MPP's contention has always been so NDC for course 44 polling stations and more and roll and nolly. And about the court to declare the whole way. Say, because I a total falsehood. And unfortunately, that is the propaganda circular that has been distributed to all MPP communicators on various platforms. There was a time I was on a platform. Almost everybody was speaking to that particular propagandist circular that has been given to them. And they are not even ready to think outside the scope to even ask questions. Say, why would the court do this? Because, if nothing at all, say, Obiko court now say, oh, seeking relief from a court. Obaka the court and say, me relief or me seeking ye. Now, also no any relief be who free say, may entitled to based on because court in the opportunity to examine all the critical facts, all the evidence, everything. The court will be in a no.
Yeah.
And it's after doing this extensive analysis of all the evidence, whatever you think I'm entitled, give it to me. And even in this particular case, it wasn't like that. Some of the specific relief and NDC, ACK, this particular way, they asked for the annulment of the entire election because they were convinced that the entire electoral way were frauded with malfeasances and whole lot of. And the court, after examining everything, came to a conclusion and said, no, the electoral rules, you're flouting. And it got to some of the argument was that even the BVD machines, most of them were even tampered with. So there were enough evidence. I go court to any bit imagine so I say the my elections the and I think that you may disagree with the ruling because all of us have our own this thing when court ruling as a phone. But the way you take it, that was why the last time I told you, say, the man MPP candidate now, Olu, declared the seat vacant, he has proven to be a gentleman because I would say in the castle, who had a total different from the party after your market in for a dano. And this is a gentleman who tells us that if this is what the court is saying, fine, I'm going for appeal, and if possible, we can go and have the election. Yeah. He has confidence in himself that even if the election is conducted today, he will get the seat back. Yeah. And for me, that is a gentleman's concession. I think that we need to give him that particular credit. And Yen contrasted that form, that belligerent, arrogant posturing that the MPP and Afenyomakin and Co. have taken in Parliament. My character said, I don't waste time watching proceedings in Parliament. And see me who videos and on social media as usual, embarrassing themselves as they always do. But the question is that, says Speaker, the day Nana people were expecting the Speaker to rule on the matter and pronounce that the man should go home. Yeah. Speaker didn't. He allowed him to stay. And then subsequent day, the man has made a declaration. He said, no, going forward, you are no longer part of us. Let us go and have elections. Appeal now then we will welcome you back. But as it stands now, per the court ruling, this is the state of play because we have been mandated as Parliament to ensure that Electoral Commission within 30 days, will make preparation for elections. We are all guided by law. The Speaker of Parliament cannot use his discretion and say, no, we are all bounded by the same law and so forth. And that is exactly what he has done. But you see, he who comes into equity must come with clean hands. Equity is very, very important, yeah? Yet to come her, and a court of competent jurisdiction declare Jachi question say, or declare a persona non grata our Parliament. Jachi question was declared persona non grata our Parliament. Yapamu live what says our Chroma for extended period of time. At that time, the minority speaking today did not find anything legally, constitutionally, morally, politically wrong with that decision. The man was asked to sit home for several months. And sana ye kwa kotuaba. The time man appeal no cost now he has been called to say man ko parliament be mebo a Kroma say was he allowed to go to parliament? No. He's at home. So I just want to do fair, reasonable analysis of situations so that the reasonable neutral person out there what will be his view about the state of play. Because if it has happened, this is not a novelty. Yeah. This is not something I've been in ACL Parliament. In a recent past, an example. Jachi question is a classic example of this particular development. Yaman Kotina if you're to about where they sit no back. And then, court to say, elections now, MP, we have invalidated that particular election. So you are no longer an MP unless the status quo no change. And as it stands now, that status quo ain't changing yet. So you are just like any ordinary person on the street, and you cannot walk into Parliament. Until that is done, you have no locus. So what is the fuss about this whole thing in the Oman Nkosuo Parliament? And again, Afenyomakin did a press conference and told the whole world, say, the court in Ghana has become a kangaroo court. And I think say these are jokers who should not be given a hearing. And now this gentleman has the audacity to stand in front of cameras and tell the people of this country, say, the court of Ghana is a kangaroo court. Recently, when everybody was much concerned about the credibility of the institution called the judiciary in this country, because he was an abject beneficiary of the excesses of the court, he was the only person to get the Supreme Court to sit on Friday, a day before, less than 12 hours. The Chief Justice empaneled Supreme Court judges to sit on his case. For that particular Adiana is, not a kangaroo court. Yet a failed parliamentary candidate, whole central, or be our contestant on the ticket of a political party. Yakofada man be a judge. Kroma say against everybody. Now ya me say Oko High Court to crowd out with a beho. MPP or more legal team advisors in Nasa Forum, they have been appointed as judges. High Court. Akufo-Addo appointed almost 59 to 60 judges. High Court. Now appeals court today and other way. So Yakasa Obi has deliberately packed the court. The kangaroo court started in front, but because you are not a person of conviction, you didn't get the sense, and common sense did not provoke you to come to the realization. Say at that time, say kangaroo court you started the kangaroo court, and we got to a time court were giving ruling that was so nonsensical to the sense that even the ordinary person could not understand. Your friend is saying some of the rulings are not about saying because they were devoid of logic, they were devoid of reasoning, common sense, and the whole Ghana on social media pounced on the judiciary because people felt that they were giving rulings that were deemed very stupid and very foolish. This is the highest court of the land, giving ruling, and the ordinary person think that this is a stupid decision. This is a stupid ruling. It was all about on social media. How come they were giving unanimous 11, unanimous that? Because it tells you the frustration, and you must be sick to say, "Mena mayor judge, mena mayor lawyer," until the opinions and the perceptions of the people should be discounted because I'm call law school. Oh, but you could see law to protect society. The whole essence of law is to ensure societal cohesion and tranquility. That is the whole essence of law. And this is a my judgment. Now your judgment is seeking to disintegrate society. Who your man boy for? What are some Americans say? So they are rather exposing and ridiculing themselves, telling the people who they are. Because if favor or not, that's okay. Yes, a massa. But if it goes against you, then somebody is running a kangaroo court. But the kangaroo court to be a chroma, Akufo-Addo built the foundation on the sea dynasty. So on the painty, BBA, as some communion in a room. And did a kangaroo court now, Mosati, and Nona. Jamahama by a Minnesota High Court, Nipadosan or Domako, now Nipa bear few people, but a larger base were there already. So Obi ran a kangaroo court. Now rulings are Basiako Kroma Yankayana. Yet the Kroma is a birth certificate, and to me new one dances away a Ghanaian. Now Ghana card, everything do or passport, traveling documents, and me do one dance here. And numerous silly decisions fly in the face of logic in this particular country, and people were. Is the reason why Ghana became so much disappointed in our judiciary to the sense that we needed a reset. So when John Mahama was coming, some of us, our call and our appeal to him, they say, if nothing at all, judiciary they are making sure say we will sanitize the judiciary. Lo and behold, a Ghanaian who felt dissatisfied with the ruptures of the court, not only the activities, the actions and the inactions of the Chief Justice, submitted a petition, and at the end of the day, her incompetence became revealing, and she has been deposed. She's sitting home today. You understand? And I have always argued, there are remnants of such traits still remain in the judiciary. We need to flush all of them out, just like Sawakwa Pana or flash it or close it. We need to just flush them out because their continual stay it tainted the credibility of the judiciary. So I think Afenyo Markin should just shut up. And he's just embarrassing. Now, no, me catch you be say. We opposition, your job is to convince average reasonable person out there. But if we are a political leader and you only appeal to foot soldiers, then you should know, sir, you are not making any headway because the foot soldiers are already your core supporters. But if you are not winning any new, you are converting new souls, it means that you are causing damage to yourself. And if you look at the posturing, the belligerent posturing, the attitude, you're not on planning as for or one casacra seat na otisono. It's questionable. What I said.
Yeah.
And with this attitude, na make actually be say, I can confidently say MPP a very responsible party. No matter what you say, normal politics, reasonable politics. I use numbers for something sensible. I can confidently say, and can NDC be wave with this particular seat.
Yeah.
But with this attitude, because politics consensus is also part of it. Exactly. How you argue with the other side just to ensure say you bargain and get your way in and so forth. They are all part, but they are sitting on high horses, very arrogant, so despicable. And now me can one platform be say in anywhere. Oko mind be your government abanya I give you party I give you birth to a buying, and I have opposition party at any point in time in any country. There was good relationship with the people at a time at the opposition, because abiding what power no, you will be taking certain decisions that will go against even your own people. Because your Mahama by even appointment club Obaa Yaa no one can the party for the frame because Obi expects Obenya bibi wanya entino or exactly entino we incumbent. You are bound to do a lot of mistakes. You understand? But opposition, you know, one bring everybody together, and you become a voice. You are seen as a representation of the people. But in this particular case, it is directly opposite. The John Mahama government is in sync with the people of this country more than the opposition, because the opposition is sitting on high horses, playing arrogant game of arrogance, and then as a forum. And so for me, I think they are all digging their own grave, and it's unfortunate they cannot see this. Now no Kufuor baby didn't the ever told so. No lamente ya the state. It's sad and very sickening to sit as a former president to see a party one kasa we dear nimu to degenerate into the state and the MPP are now so attractive in this country and you can't even wear MPP t-shirt and cross the street because we have a show to party and I see a grounding as intellectuals because they don't even know their left from their right. They think politics is all about causing sin, causing distraction, and then as a forum. So for me, I think that they are not helping anybody. When they are in power, they destroy. When they are in opposition, they become saboteurs. That is the core benchmark of the MPP as a political party. And for me, Ghana for amateur, I evolve for politics, I grow. You need 1992 BM and I need 1990 BM, where you could sway. Your friends say amount for based on emotion, tribal sentiment, and those kind of BM. It is about 2 million no. Then our day, then our year, say amount for 2 money no more. We have more born in there, brabo born near Kufuor, the boy, and arrogance, it is still fresh on the minds of the people of this country. So they are no rather a amount for before the more. So this is the time for you to set up Parliament now, numbers, how constructively are you using the numbers? The day some people were fooling in Parliament, Do you know that day, your friends a minority at your friends government wanted the budget to be approved. Yeah. The interesting thing is that because of what they did not even sit to go through the various approvals. And the government had it through. And for me, we are government or anybody, because the opposition is so irresponsible to the sense that the core job that they were supposed to do, they were not there to look at it. They were making noise, raising unnecessary way, while government businesses was running on the sidelines. All the appropriations now go through, there is nothing that you can do about it. But don't do things there, who your oppositioner, your role as an opposition, what failing Ghana for? Because people are expecting you to subject that particular thing to critical scrutiny. That is the job of an opposition. But what transforms into your friends unruly sort of saboteurs, and all that you can do is to cause distraction, raise alarm, play on people's emotions. And I'm saying this, emotional aspect of politics. You cannot convince people. You cannot win souls or political souls with this kind of unwitty kind of your friends make your point. Criticize the government where possible. But yes, the baby at so Pandai issue no a court na kodi na sem enti now your basis is to attack the court. The question is there be na wugina so a court na na de o attack no jache question ye ka so court na fie na de na nya kangaroo court parliament ye pam no furo na nya kangaroo court yet here electoral commission ne aban ne etia no mo di nemahunu to the sense say president ye de bill akoto na nim say onsan o say onsan ye yisu court no prolong issue na ye to aba wie ye eno de na enye ye fese kangaroo court yet here na afenyo mark ya so a speaker de call parliament e call court hwe kwan ye fa so ye di asem no okroma at some point it speaker bufu ye the main case no kwa wanko. That is a kangaroo court for you. Amanfo yetimi amanfo ye demonstration e wo kroma on Galamsey ni and other guys the kwan fa so ye so omkogu ye fan say prison bail kwan ye say ye mo bi court so omo bail omunku nipa nya hwe o ye ka kangaroo court and that was kangaroo court. So I think they should just shut up. They have nothing sensible to say. They should give us a break and let things play. Na Ghana for we are reasonable to fact check the government and make sure that it does the right thing. No? The government will continue to do because my catch man for say ya kasa aban bi aban papa enya aban papa ne de onye mistake o nipa bia ya mistake aban we are saying we mistake but the question is we mistake now how do you take it from there and then ma we aban for instance this lithium deal here ba so Ghana for do na kasa odabi yempe yenye say aban ne say den exactly that is what you do. Abayne say, I am going to do consultation, listen to Ghanaians because when I'm to me no mame, maybe from where I sit, you know, baby as Abayne me free say in Kebabua, but saying a Ghana for now lithium near Modia no se more candia and hey Majai, let's have a discussion. That is what the responsible government do. Yati Kroma say, yeah. Abayne kasa or ye bibia one wine so could be one akakoka. Yamwa ebecho. But then, aban betimi take a full stop, stop. So, okay, fine, let's pause. For me, that is very phenomenal. And when I listen to people doing this lithium analysis and as a they circumvent around this critical fact, because that is a hallmark of a good government, of a good governance. Okay, people are complaining. Let's pause. Let's dialogue. Let us engage and come to a resolution and move on. That is governance. In the past, we never had this chance. Because when PDS was brought into this country to come and take over ECG, there was a nationwide outcry. But the government never listened to anybody. They went ahead with it. And several DDP and so forth. So the difference, you know, is quite wide. So up things that Fenyo Markin and his people should come down where they are saying cup of common sense and begin to learn how to govern, but not how not to govern. I am not saying that John Mahama is a perfect person, he's a human being, but so far, I am sure so what's not saying, and then now your comparative analysis where Ghana was at the time and where Ghana is today. Yeah, there is no reasonable person. I'll bet me I can say changes agency will come and say, I didn't know we need their worker. What are some Americans? So I think that is what they do best. Rabbling, noise making, they should go ahead with it, and if that is, they think that is what is going to win them power in 2028. But unfortunately, the foot soldiers in the party don't realize some of these things, and they think there are people who go to parliament to do some of this funny stuff, you know, and they are heroes. Yes, you will get the standing ovation from your foot soldiers, but you will never be able to convince any sensible person and Ghana has a to win an election, you need a reasonable minds in the middle. I can't say NDC any core supporters a bit me man win election with Chroma. It can never happen. MPP any core supporters. It is always the floating voters in the middle. And the floating voters are the average Ghanaians, very reasonable people. They are the people you should target and appeal to. But all that you do is to infuriate these people, to cause some sort of opprobrium. You think anybody will take you serious? So I think they should just sit down and sit up properly.
Okay. You have to also now more function yes, internet and be able to see. Now also be cross my personal message say we are off from Facebook, but internet issues right more far and chain. And no peace council any president Asia would Jubilee House. Near my baby so peace council say Omuhiaska. Omuhia support on multimedia fanipa baby across the regions. Now multimedia ye juma. Na Omuhia salaries so betimi ama omojuma no akoyie and afin so as my president Ekasafa OSP office and I say said the Ghana for any abre say yes one scrappy when you say say premature because Attorney General no is seen as a political appointee in Kawasha OSP no na koye independent person or no so prosecution powers obey me prosecute corrupt officials and see no so who come so Jubilee House and
remove I don't want to say premature.
President.
Okay. So I think the special prosecutor office in Canada. Yeah, President actually not doing, but I think the power lies with the people of this country because but who say Matisse you see 2 members of parliament as submitted a private member bill. So we see that is the beauty of democracy. The president disagrees, but other people also disagree. Said that disagree. Or the bill just to make that particular way. For me, I think it's appropriate. Yeah, because you see. Men started from Peace Council and I started from where Peace Council almost pay their more members salary. Because I'm a consumer, I'm a Canadian castle, Abu Funti, no, young special prosecutor.
Oh, I can't
I do my man on Moya Munti or Moka.
That's it, yeah. Peace Council, National Peace Council, Omubuama to be a moment, one.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm a special prosecutor. I just an power metal bomb. And the office of the special prosecutor said the Mexicano. So we see a variety of conversation even across the political divide. People within the NDC and the MPP have all come to one conclusion: say the office of the special prosecutor no any useful. Office in Ankasa says he hono, and for so be any so. And I listened to the speaker who said, "Sir, also supported the call to scrap it." One of the MPP Council of Elders also made the same comment. Say, free said the office of the special and you see, and America said, "Nema ye moving mo yet why you know? Ebi I just oku jinabro science so and son wahu because as we are working, I said it 2017 on Radio Universe when this particular bill was introduced. Say office no so be any so and kofa the papa biama until date some of us are vindicated. Because you are just fighting corruption and yes, I set up office, I set up so. A political will on your part just to ensure say kakrane or hono de beye adwuma. But Abaya Onunya ready so fight corruption, I special prosecutor basi ho just to add it to the number so that in writing you say, oh, he added an institution and that will be his credit. But the job that they did, you know, because when you set up an institution, the presumption is that they are fighting corruption. But when in reality, the office was set up to promote corruption, to protect corrupt individuals, to safeguard the entity. And that's exactly what happened. So for me, it's good to say, barely after 8 years after, most Ghanaians, and I found out Ghana for who said, who he said, Office of the Special Prosecutor, neighbor year through. I think it's good and I support it and I like it when that particular bill is submitted because I think that what we need to do now, there be a mechanism, and I don't even need to repeat it. And they say, the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice, you know, yen try na yen separate it. The government can try to find a neutral person hopefully so bit me taking issues of prosecution now on famano on resources across the country, all the regions and robust, effective AG offices. I know they exist, but how effective are they? Have they been able to prosecute cases in Nasefonum? I think we need to resource them and transform them into a viable entities. Able to taking issues of some of these things. And even within Ukraine, we can even allocate them to various cases for prosecution, political corruption, economic, whatever. We can do all these things just to ensure, say, there is speed and there is this certainty and clarity on the minds of Ghanaians. Institutions or issues no bad, they will take it up. What I say? See, to me, yes, I never a bit my confidence I return it. Now, what we say, I didn't see a special prosecutor, yawo Yoko. Your BNI, your all these security agency institutions with prosecutorial powers and then but still trust and confidence in the people in the fight against corruption is still shaky. What is that question? It tells us that some institutions when you know good paper so keke. And if you come in, the special prosecutor, unfortunately, no, my culture say I'm told he's a good lecturer, but emotionally he's not matured. he's emotionally very unintelligent in his dealings, and a personal sentiment and personal feeling very often goes into the things that he does. One of I and the brush we have friends saying Martin Pebu, that was needless, that was highly not sensible kind of an option that he should have exploited, because you see, so be a kiziwa and you want to because the sensitive officer you can refer him to either Yoko or the CID to call him and investigate. Na nipa no so ye krom for wo se brana me investigate me investigate you. Obaa Yaa say what this soja ni atementi na soja ni no hwan. What kind of nonsense is this? President Kro tia konwa so man for kasetia no. President say what this soja ni atem. So we see it tells you say he's an emotional baby. And for me, I think that emotional crybabies should not be allowed to handle such sensitive offices. Even though we are calling for the scrap. Niamana or yen further denigrate and it out to yamu problem about the office. So for me, I think that it's long overdue. President say is early. Yes, I understand, because why he's sitting as president, or just say, oh, take it out special prosecutor, a man for cancer. He doesn't want to fight corruption. So this is not the job of the president. It's the job of us, the people, and it's the reason why some people in parliament have triggered the process. Ghana for your process in he will have no other option than to assent to it. And I think that was a smart move by the president. Let us deal with it. And I think that we have enough forces and enough way to handle this. Because across the political debate, there seems to be some consensus that it's a useless office. Because the intention was to witch hunt the NDC, because Martin Amidu then was better. Yeah, exploiting the anger, yeah, exploiting the frustration against the NDC, because he was then criticizing the Mills government. And you know, Saloga has, yeah, exploiting a young fan chase you more. That particular agenda didn't go through, and then they became frustrated, and the team backfired. Because when Martin started chasing them, that is when Kenneth Fureta started paying him visit midnight, and then as a foreigner trying to convince him, then the explosion came. And till that time, the Cecilia Dapa case was one of the high-profile cases, and they expected a special prosecutor to give us a closure. Yeah, what I say? I mean, that be a mekan. Adeba kwa Emma Maninji sa special prosecutor no kra ho say adeba kwa manfo hu yen say sa plea bargaining act sa act 1079 Obaa Yaa kan ho asem. It started with a special prosecutor. If you take the special prosecutor act, that is 959 section 71 of that particular act, go and look. There is a high provision for plea bargaining. You negotiate with criminals. It is in that particular act. It has been there since 2017. So, plea bargaining act now about 2022. No, and new. It has been with us in the that is why the last time Abranton or Casamas Kiseja Mbakacho said, Unim Sika Yajeje. Meaning, what is our comment that Unim Sika Yasevu? Because section 71 of the act, allowed them to do this kind of restitution, reparations, and your friends say pay, negotiate, and go your way. It has been there, and this is one key thing. And they wish you one will be so. I saw quite terrible. 5,000 crowd jiska. Because the modalities for such negotiations, so I think that means that office so be and I am one son I set it up. Because how can you say the office your friends are independent bank? When the AG has overriding authority and the Constitution gives absolute power to the AG, you cannot set an institution about violate your friends saying the AG unless you make amendment in our laws. Sure. You understand? Whichever institution be our best set up, say fighting corruption be one way or the other, will be superseded by the constitutional influence and power conferred on the AG. You cannot operate in a vacuum. You understand? So some of these things, should have told us, Office of the Special Prosecutor can never be independent, as it was bandied around by the Akufo-Addo at the time it was being introduced. So yeah, for me, we've come to a consensus. Office of the Special Prosecutor is a useless creation, a further burden on the taxpayer. Now, one of their justifications is, there has been 21 events, assassination attempt on the... Now, President Akufo-Addo can't know about mine, assassination been a corner. So we see, I'm more cancer, no more, because they are when they know you will be assassinated for them. They know you, watching. among for more proper prosecution, people are not attempting to prosecute them. And this is bad power. Nipa watching it in terms of some of these things. Papa, your friend is saying, Yoko, your friend is saying. No, Yoko boss, no. I'm not friend is saying. Remonacha. Now Remonacha Bacachos will be assassinated. Remonacha crying and Krum will be assassinated. Now, special prosecutor. Yes, now special prosecutor. Coco crown for Coco court. Wouldn't soldier for them, I'm saying. And not young cut bulletproof man. It's they are jokers. I think that they've outlived their essence and usefulness. We just need to flash them because going forward. My culture say, Sika everybody in Semunu Kromano. You're making sure say you align and you reallocate such money to productive ventures where young people have economic independence and freedom. Because anywhere in the world you see mounting rate of youth unemployment, it threatens your cohesion, it threatens national security, it threatens everything. So as government, one of the fundamental reasons to ensure say we take away the issues and the problems, the burden of youth unemployment from your country. And for me, realigning some of these monies into productive ventures, but me achieve that particular thing. I just say to Kromana one day, or you know, I just say, womb. Let us not sit here and fully convince ourselves because coup air running around the corridors, we are immune or isolated. No. Sometimes, the conditions for coup may not be fertile in Ghana. But what is happening could be a domineering influence that will cave into this country. It happens because when this thing, Arab Spring started, it started in Tunisia. Morocco felt they didn't have a problem. Middle East never thought it will ever go there. But when it becomes a phenomenon, among for adopted it. Oh, yes, sometimes the conditions may not be present, but you feel like yes, because the conditions are not different. So if you're not careful, happening around the corridors and our borders, the propensity that it may cave in is very high. It's the reason why like you make hay while sometime and you don't wait for the trouble day to come. Some of this initiative now once again build the confidence in state institutions, and prosecution is one key thing Ghanaians by culture say in 2028 election is going to be the major highlight as to how many people you were able to prosecute, were you able to recover our money, because the entire 2024 campaign was done on the premise that certain thieves stole our money and we want recovery. We want to see them in jail. We want to recover our money and send loud message to people out there say you cannot steal from the state and walk free. These criminals should not have a safe haven. They should not hide anywhere. We must chase them even in their graves. Even if they die, we need to make them answer for their crimes. That brings me back to the arena where Kenoforata is in. Where Afenyo Makin and his people making unnecessary noise in parliament, they don't feel ashamed. So the whole finance minister of a government you were part, that is a so. The whole finance minister, like a chicken, hiding in somebody's country. You don't feel ashamed. And these people have the audacity today to come back to us and complain and make suggestions. What suggestions? If you have any reasonable suggestion, go and suggest to your man who was running away like a chicken to come back to this country and answer for his crimes. What I say? And because they have no sense of shame, they don't realize even the historical consequences and the impact of some of this runaway away. Because in the future, if Kenoforata doesn't return to this country and he dies somewhere, your children are forever going to bear the brunt of this shameless dent because people are going to call your children, refer to them. And that will be a forever dent on your children. So I think that he owns his children and his family that responsibility to come back to Ghana and answer, so that in the future somebody will not see his child somewhere and tell us, "Papa, kwasi ampanyi ni fa isika Ghana ye no." Ebi akra wo ba be yi wa no a. Ebi akra na wo mfa sika. Ebi akra na wo mfa ahwe. But you running away no affirm. Why you be? Because you are not bedridden. Ah, o kasa wintimi magana. Won nam pama ye fe say oxygen sisi wo so. Ye hu a bag bo wachi a won am America kroma wo koba. So they been stop you to come back to this country. So if these people have any sense of shame in their life, I think that they should address all their frustration to this, because as we speak, the remnants of the bad governance that Akufo-Addo gave to us, we are still dealing with it. We are not done. 1 year John Mahama government, yes, you can look at the gains, but you cannot project the gains without doing comparative analysis by looking at the past. Niama esi because my guy said nipa da sani ya pese hu se watu mpon a esa wo heba bia nra na wo na wo heba bia na wugina the gap between and the bachelor so wako wanim and asa wonko wanim. So people say we should focus in the present. Yes, we are focusing on the present, but we can never forget about the past. Because that is a dent on our democracy. The Niamano Moye in the past, still our overbearing consequences on the present. So we cannot negate it and let it go. Say, oh, and expect John Mahama by on turn Ghana into Dubai overnight. When the overbearings of the past still as shown in the face in the present, and it is impacting on the present. No, we need to also talk about the past and make sure that the crimes of these people are punished. Especially who cover COVID fund now we kwanya fast or mine sika pa ya call northern ya call voter region ya say adakulu ya say akohu dan ya turn 20 million Ghana cedis. Na ya tam 15 million say mun fan siesie ya siesie we ya so ya cry dan na nya fe bi yentimi nyusu. Na ya jai na ho na ya ko baabi na ya say akoto online platform 34 million ya be ya meeting wo ho. Wo tena se na wo keka niema we nyina boma yade aba amanfo ebre wu no amanfo lusu nyuma no na kwabrane e de sankwan e wo baabi. So these things cannot go scot free. You understand? So I think that yen scrap the special prosecutor office because FASO needs to in the fight against corruption, and some of the Onwan Kasa and Numa Sem Ghana is a serious country where Bian Konwan Kasa and Kawase Mudada. Because some now Kana and some now not Janus or defending, but rather ridiculing and embarrassing himself the more. So for me, I think that his friends should tell him to just shut up, go to the private sector and teach because he's a good teacher. So I'm told. So criminal law, he's very good. He should go and teach. Now public space, any space. Koi hano yen singi emotions so. Yenya press conference meto. Yenya press conference meto akwano man na se for no. Ya se ompa ho asem akotono ba bi political arena no yemfa mempa me ho asem na ye. Oba do your work diligently and people will praise you. Na se wo ba aba be dis anema you thinking say people will let you shield you. Aba across the country, even the opposition party are bashing him. So it means that Ghana for no, in our mind, we know what we want. So once it is not being delivered, and you cannot tell people say Ghana for you know ye kasari you know kwasi for now who know what the officer unko na anim nyansa. And na ma abrante no di na chi na amfa sameda ko ne ho ya mesere no. Because in their twisted mind, they think that they are in charge. Everything is okay. But the vast majority of Ghanaians who see that office as a useless office, and are you saying that those Ghanaians are fools? They cannot read in between the lines? I think these guys, they've jumped over their friends' mandate. They should just slide down and make sure that things work. So yeah, for me, I think so far so good. We just hope things will work and then everything. And I mean, other word, the 1 year of John Mahama administration, like I said, 4 years ago. And I said, not baby, I'm not Ghana for nam ye. And in Tina, you're cool. We agreed and came into a consensus. Yes, you be cool. Our Ghana. Cool, you felt to us a very democratic coup. That is why I'm catching say election 2024 was a democratic revolution to depose a dictator, a despotic government from this particular country. And the resounding victory that was conferred on John Mahama, no, this particular thing, Ghana for so. Coup na na Ghana can be by the also democratic coup d'etat because we show the president the door in a very forceful, embarrassing, shameful manner for them to feel that indeed we are sick and tired of the excesses and the ruptures of the government. So that was quite clear. And again, so we have never na air cost na se for no na convince na ko parliament. Yes, MPP anya 88 numbers. 88 no me ma na dem amwa na me papa na dem omo. Omo kwabre akufo ade se wonto ma na fa kokromuti hye wanum. Na omo do omo kokromuti hye omo anum no wonto aba. Nti na wuni numbers a me ma na koya na papa na koya. You should blame yourself. So I think that they deserve no pity, they deserve no sympathy. They need to suffer the fate our man kasa critic for no home. And because of arrogance, they don't even realize they are in damn way. So for me, I think that they deserve what they are getting. And for Ghana, for also there, we will continue to support good. If it is bad, we will talk about it. That is why this lithium deal by people who criticize it because they felt maybe you could have done better. Ghana for the if this is what they are saying, I have no choice. because the power conferred on me was given to me by the people. I cannot go against them. So let us pause, do engagement. And for me, so Obi can lithium dinner. That's the highlighting point that you need to mention in terms of communication, because that is the most efficient point there. Now, he had issues with a lithium deal, and several other people have. So if a say, okay, Matthew, the maker as a mayor, no, I'm putting it on hold because of the concerns being raised by the people. It means that the government is ready to listen to people, and for me, that is governance. So, Laban, I'm not time now. Can you know? Part 2.
I can't want me to cry. Yes, I a bit. Oh, you are more to me. Yes, a cosson has some other some. Today, I have about a tot on the side. For your father's house.
All right, so far, I come as me and Sahu. And your cabo.
OSP. I ran TV court and I have
Yeah.
If he's no quite swan, I dare say a chingaji bahua. Now I call Akubusa Brewa. Until Kubusa Brewa, now Brewa said, I was say, what I say, any say. May the current form shape on the day before say if I should be anywhere also. It's already on one casa act now. A chess or Mujo to me free attorney general. Not just say independence now, yes, or me independent, or me independent. And also until they buy. Say, on my Gina Contempro. Nanka, what to me, to me, I should share catastrophe. Now, the seller, I'll go you to me for attorney general. Attorney general, no, or no, man, penny appointed, and how independent are you? That's what she can say. Until here, she can your more share so far. They am billion de co.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I said, Papa Ben, what you are coming. Now, cannot there be Aquanoma, office will be town. Okay, say, I will be in what town. That time, what you did. A your man, yet, children, as you see, cannot, ye, sure, Gusana, ye, can, yes, a children, Jack, I draw your town. Yet I was a now, no, has some ma. So now, I was branch you can use a deal or a journalist. Sabbath, or a journalist. Not work to me. I mean, what here in Ghana for you and say, yeah, there has been 2 assassination attempts. Oh, Kissia Jabez. That is a Jabez, in case Papa Ben or him one more go.
I go for the crown and I'm going
to on a Namoa, on the bodyguard, that Obiana, or no, yes, go to him and I know. Be going now one time, assassination. No, some of that Konozo catches a police for Makumako 17. On what? Why did we go wrong as a country? Yeah, I mean, you might be a you.
As a common sense.
No, that's not just a
Jimmy common sense. I remember my mayor, I want just yet. Who's Jimmy and not also grown? Ah, yeah, Busan is there. Now, at the assassination attempt, yes, I did a crown or reported. Yeah, we say what, Debbie. Who security law enforcement person will be a corruption more. Now, so people saw Joe Brabo or Crefuse. One report to my police station be out. Interior Minister was of Boko says, because I throne will be and go yes, son of Abacacho. Send a baby, Babina sympathy. So, well, yet you may be a somewhere in think of what Tata. Who cares about one Tata? Yes, a fucking of Oriata Brand, yeah, no son. Yes, it can no. Yes, and how weak are we? I Ghana Brody, my friends say, Hamid, Mustafa Hamid. Now, one now I ain't quite a case in the court because of Munsro.
Yeah. And I don't know, according to the case in every court tonight, one of the different.
One is Rodo.
As I'm never.
Ah, yeah, of course, Sicilia, that 5 years, put you on the sim pass. Also, the machine grand as I can be a case you could see. When you are your home. I'll be found. To be in what time one, say, yeah, Baba, yeah, Castle be quack or be attempted the life who. On the Capremon Bay, a year Adanko that day, appointed by Kufuado, sworn into office by Kufuado, doing the bidding of a Kufuado. But President Mama, dear, son of the canon, because Susiampa said, or no, ever campaigns of Beji or Betuket as chassis. Now, Obibian, I don't say, Baby, OSP the boy. Dear Nagana for Becca for the end of activism. Yeah, some me president.
Yeah, you have no doubt.
Yeah. Or cars are 7 to Papa who could Moses more than Libby. Hey, who can tell you what you and the end baby Gina. Some person office be Tiranhomo, nay, officer, your fees are independent. Yani akase mumye constitutional amendment. Now Attorney General, yen sakra ni mradum say on yon no God between initiate all prosecutions. Now for yen consolidate all the anti-corruption agencies, yoko ne financial intelligence center ni yen kamu bako, ni yen mrabako ni appointed one anti-corruption za already or independent. Ni who say 2 million in ekura no.
Yeah.
Na ye kwe na we ni de ye chenche bia de ewu enko na ni. The next one, your friend is saying, oh, next topic is simple.
Parliament.
Parliament, they are not too as
Oh, Pandai, oh, and I'm going to say, I'm going for the other side of the Befi, I'm a car. Yana, Mom foul, my catcher say, Article 42, Electoral Commission, on Teso Bears, no Electoral Commission being one for the serious. Was Electoral Commission be on register and go for Edim Fee do or tree? On my dream model. I never talk constitution, what they can for for the benefit of your Yabia be fish and baby boy. Was Article 42 was say every citizen of Ghana of 18 years of age or above and of sound mind, I didn't has the right to vote and is entitled to be registered as a voter. How many year registration? Yeah, electoral commission. What it means is the electoral commission also register more margin day. Now, I didn't let down. The chairs also I didn't down and say, "Well, now I to a bar. I you be obey your man penny, where you be obey Rashibiga." And it is over Article 94, no so at the okay. No one was said, "Nap or more the constitution in Bano." Satan almost a Ghana for not getting to your electoral commission. Article 94 2BII, and so say, Obian to me, Yap and Rashibiga, just said, "Not in Mudaho." And it took a grammar shabby de mona. Yes, but it's a more moon in a margin me. So, yeah, I dare see your parliament. One more margin without pane. What a catch them. More than more a cheerful we have before land. Not just a minimum now, yeah, not just a miss or more parliament. And to one more be due on more yard park, as one more at 2 Obama uncle for ye. Ye best enter in Vienna be your opportunity to see a 2 Obama. Yet the own pictures in Yaba 2 money. Just uncle for the years I do. Or man also just a young more might be with our Beco Parliament. Mon Pamo Munyan and film. Now for your strength speaker a Bagman say, and now no more says and Gunya, you know. I can't say 1 2 more swans. I do almost say repeat also my repeat. Yani di esi kesi kekura yenye biro akoto nkonya ne microphone so mo nkasa omo no papa fo ne ma befo e de bako na hyebejo mo nko ye vetting keke no makosa nkonya chene ne ebe ka asem na minim ana wati outcome no
yente de yete ya ne so omo so ombe punish
wo bu punish obi ha no punish no just omo de omo enti sa nyoma wi ana wo se ye firo na panna ne de makaka se de enti a MPP mpeso mbeko na no mbeka wa se Obaa Yaa say nyinam grade wajatu nyinam o say obetumi awu ni aba na bra NDC fo no beja say CEO so emba ho minister semba ho omomfa obi eno dia ano so kaka o say to be unfair for them to come and I say hey nyinam e wi na ka by mistake go here asen of no nia
na ye wa ha
ohokra dia obi akwa ma president ko bi ekufo do ko obi ko ye you asen shot na ala le goye campaign and na be young man ko je microphone obi akobi esusen kofo ne mpewo a na omo mpewo o ma to ntia nyinam de wa pa bakra ba de mesre de se nyinam kakra bi a wanya to bank account hwe na wan bank to credit because aba we be bia meti a me hu pa de gap o mo de be ma no
NDC for the kind of NDC for and that is the seriousness on the part of the young people there.
Me say gap on body be ma na oya we. Enti ade na also cause NMB before so more parliament. O mo be onya ma so mo bisika kwa kwashim. It's almost that you did the way. Oh my God, I'm and could you mistake? You not miss what we other party politics is only by former MP, Obi Yaa, former MP.
How much is that?
Now, some of my witness Baladoma know former MP.
Party politics, we are starting out former where we Obi Yaa serious. And the Odia fashion now no Bushia, United Party, next 4 years, and Obaa be a candidate, and be in the Omo na on corner. Charlie, is answer records the whole and this never winning baby. SA MPP. In fact, you know, we are be winning more or more. On crowd, but no independent candidate.
Yeah, no independent candidate.
I know, or cross the MPP. Or cross the MPP, I will lose here. And what's about why they what's a be winning a problem about why you think to Nammy on Namfi say, Como Casse, for we need by almost 4,000 a year. Nanka, quickly. Court cast a rerun, and if I move 10% voter register and a free one. And I said to a free one. The young got to about.
I said, Obaa Yaa serious, or Befaka.
I would emphasize 10%, but still I will lead it. That can young go with you. So parliamentary winning by 1 vote, winning. That I told Global one got up parliament 3 votes. Or got trans or call crown and I know I didn't see over here. Yeah, not as it. And dear, no dear, and yet, but the mission in the castle when you also want one. Papa Ben was said. En fa sanity we are seen the beyond the bay into our money yard see electoral commission so at the data day about 30th a wow check it and me to the fusion and funny Kusikan Gushim Bronya and I'll go to a bay. If we are a January war, Cotonco Quachama, I'll go check of war. Madame, you not just say, and no, dear, you numb on show, I'm fish will be Tina Supreme or moving us or 1 year, or drove a racing. Now, Omano Nko.
I will let you know so now no become what's them.
I know dear. All say a memo, and I agree with Ivan. Yeah, I dear you buy a baby now, yeah, politics may canvass vote among me party UP. But I know you may ultimate ye United Party no, and the yemi ultimate my ultimate aim in say Oman Ghana no, Ibedi. Sabi ye say ya na out soon a ye my brother, it is not too much about 1 idea. Now, 1 idea, Koposha assassin. And it's a be a bahad more, ye quine. Ye mistake with your gold. Ye mistake with our bauxite. Ye mistake with our diamond. Ye mistake with our manganese. A crude ya and then ye quay. As one for so paper. But Ubusa Ghana Nibia. You discover or you know or the near fear or the catch us no officer your problems near there. As of as African crown of what you're adorson. And until na yen to me fa lithium me and to atom credit. Yen to me Niagro. We must get here, never be a right cry. Let's get it right with the lithium. As well administration, dealer than go and then go Kotobeku. And until some of us you fight ya. Tiana no dear buy na a kitchen so. Chenya cassette because yes and no Oman penny and San Shimbu. Say your fish and then lithium one form we are see drama so. Nasa and a tunia on better woman show. And so why ye feedino. So I say, investor will all buy no more question him for BH, no more can unemployment problem. I the Anglo go Asante and as a go face. Yeah, but I can say, and you might call what's the call when you Kotako important go home when you and so much sense and me matter of was that Nanka or a friend Anka or was young cow be an opposite with young cabia, now was and the would be Yasas Aseno and Yasanga and Kakro Munyabi. So I say, and Nuti or send yes, you can't, Yamin Chadie. What's in my way to a class maca? Namanyade, Menway. That is what we expect of our government. Yan Saniba could remove. A man for Timem for ne can. No was also Abba and Nabuasha chase. A dear no who are yen day. Yen Koshim. Yakoshimwa, na yes, you actually yagina. Almost a year to Atwa. Eba, who are buying the crowd with some more young. Because me who say, hey, me who be Nanya Nameka. Aban the oil listening president or Betty, near any year, and no bois or no rancasa as a penny as an individual, and one the political party. That is a one more for dissenting views. Yan charge in your development. That is what of minor expected. To make one of us say, you can't and waiting as from us one withdraw. Let's say, or more Shamuye. Say one of one partner say, and blow with your tuning and why a moment.
Okay.
Esan se Ghana na nkasa ye pese industrialize. Ena ebedru baabi no ye raw materials na ye tu akwa no ehwo beba mfa so ma satam na ye nya technology na ye du mbembe so ye pese ye full industrialization obo se raw materials na eni bio tie nwene nkyire ma ho na ene na mwa ya ekina be de ebeboai for now ekom na DNA se ye yi a kwia o ye betumi aye ye invest o mo ye betumi aye ni ye. There are several things that they lithium ne ma se ne cho che eno no se ni koso kopembra ye tie America e wo gold sin ye o wo timber sin ye today bi on ba no ma be fa ye de o mo twan mra ya san ye de awie na ho no be kire se no ko ye gen tie me ni na ho sa boa o ma mo obia obi koje adamudie fa kire a na sa investors o mo ye so clever crafty o ba nya ba no no be deliver so ko communities no opinion leaders ne yemfo ne yi na o ma show mu mfuru mu ma to aban wo kana wo pay na pressure community di eba abuboa selfish interest and notina o man no magudie bi ewo mu no in the wisdom of the framers of the constitution they show man penisa no eye nyina dia ti dem ye fa say ya discover no wo mbotem no njese wo dia eye Ghana man nyina dia ti yentu ne yemfa benefit ye nyina to man penia ya dia onko bio onko hwem na okono onko hwem yie wone obia wo ka bi no etena se hwem yie a me fi say ye benya solution to what we are looking for. Now investors also omuma enya open mind. Yes, I'm better to chiri ensa ede egu yachi. And no dear moyasa Ghana is a sovereign country. And until many age adia okuja to ejina foreign ministry na mo aye mani ji age no. Sankofo ye starting no mu ye get to get say ya. Ah, na meme Ghana for no mo issue visa ma me say me mra ukrom na me baya ba em sa tantan de ewo mu nyina say ye kala inti. Nipa tuntum yemuye enti de bia me kase so mu deport nipa be 1000 efrom kroma na mo so mabadan ha omo ngoma mo deport equal measure
simple
me wo de jana o no obi kai kroma ye pasem so as so e sensitive because o gene the visa bi ho na omo man kroma so what wo ya wo aya na be nyira wo nyira du se kroma me de jana me ye mama me ma me mani jaji ma hala me fa e vija me na mfufuo di oh bengu ha ya duwa gogo de wa se ukro me awo we me de be de so ti ase e no kra ye deport en kofo no mo a be me ye ni abrese ye build ye man ye to so apam no ti sa no se ye mamu ma investors ni hunhuna mo na omo ba kro mu a omo ni kapre e wo ya e sa barari enye $185 million some so invest wo lithium National Service in Kwasika Attorney General catches here 2.4 billion. I also say 185. National Service in Guam. It means you was Kano Kruma. Be the penny say Oman as Ghana. What the Oman cry ya. Yama businessmen who Krumano. Albino and Monska. Now I'm going to talk expertise. This time we are saying you don't need Ghanaians our expertise or lithium you. Ya koto muba. No mabe yama. Now what you see can what you amako. Tiane no enfaso bum ni nyina be de e be ban ho. Ti modi eso mo say omo ntia se ne lithium bo ko fom na be ye mo nko. O man say ye be giram ah ya survive and ku for do amemo say die bi na survive. Oh here ne kwada na be tena ladies and gentlemen fellow Ghanaians want to be. That fellow Ghanaians are ye die sika fa so ye survive we. E tinye we ye akaka kra bia ma ye nyina de adwene bom ye kase be ye Ghana ni yi a e be to pampani why ade na mo mu hwem yi okay na mo make sure say the only the interest ye be bo man no okay and ye be ba
please cancel the end you Ivan say why or share no so nyeta an be bo
why cancel o be trouble cancel don't worry yeah you see o ma creative piece okuma you peace council agabana they call for the resignation of Kyei and Nkosuo. Election 2024 we were saved by grace. Election 2020 we were saved by grace. But catch yourself baby Kyei ati adjacent property or election 20 before 2020 answer the kwakoto abano na ndi kuna sase da ho na Ghana National Tourism Authority for dia Julo Debra trefi ni modano ya de sase ne Japan ni amaniku ya diamano documents documents ya diamano papa be no yema Ghana National sikase ro twa and to so ki makase yen konko ye investigation to it sanyo na kise jabe ye kan na nka ho po che na wuguram ati obaba be yankwa no ma me crab afode na ye te obre and until the peace council be any here because Oman who say a chroma article na also omo budget free interior ministry. Yes, I'm between idea peace omka. Peace in your absence of Ghana for the share. So you see, a chroma and I'm spirit to be a criminal. A hurrah na bibia man day. Acho. Because ya wadi able to enter on a TikTok as well. We are Casse Ghana the only data. Ubu fu crowd of fat TikTok just by 2 minutes. Obeseresa now on the church. And none is say we. Nanyas will beat one or ye a dear to be beba. Shad ye quack to about a sea. Pussy got near transfer. Your friend is a deported theatre called illegally. Ye be my minister that mempene. Kopem se Ghana for na esenyahwe yenim de ebe e koto aba maybe kasi am to mam Canada almost that be alright mama am to man boom o to be ka bibi on one declare no e do peace council dey adwuma na odi wo anya hu ti se OSPA bi esi okwa ye tieska keke eske de betu am ngora yinyanka street so to omo de omo asem no munya omo life nya dey enfama mo na me de mano esi
Ivan, 5 point.
Yeah, I think that something you know, ya canon and that be because this analysis in my you know, yes, will be a time of behold. We just trying to build on my a bit to me a creative, viable economic opportunities, especially for young people. Because one thing about Africa, they say, in your productive days as a young man, if you're not careful, you waste everything. By the time I'll be through 16, 15, and I feel maybe I will be so. But I might be able to inform young people should have access to capital. And that genuine for a woman should be put to good use. It will interest you to know the creative potentials a woman for me. But obedient the better baby, oh, yeah, exposure crowd and I said, or the side and about bear. And so, open so to sad and to anywhere America in the early 90s. Blacks no more so much, you know, this hip hop thing. But yeah. And your friends a worldwide winning now. It was a black your friends a population. And to me said there was something particular in them. But because they had opportunity and a certain platform, they were able to leverage to potentiate those things. And some of these guys stars and then as for them, that tells us a young so yawahano similar we know our man for mu, but obedient yet a pandai, obedient yet a brekuso. Onyo bi kura obehu say bibi wo nipa no mu. But you see, I think we need to create that incentive. Now, no make say I know people are na NC classroom that, but they had opportunity to go to America. The very moment we will system no, the system is built in such a way say we are wadwuma benya osika. If you really want to work, you get it. That is how you don't need to say okwa ko hu obi, okwa military. No answer you apply once you qualify, you go through na say for them. Let us create that fair, stable system here. So young people will take advantage and also build their dreams because on my man for build their dreams, you know. Some mine be successful. But on mine no build the dream for Nipano, that on mine will never be successful. So that is why I said the American dream. We have provided a platform, come and dream whatever you want to become, just become. But I know you are changing here. We are the obey teacher, we are the obey nurse. We are mine, we are the you don't even get chance to explore. You understand? So I think that I know and I had the body of mine now. I think that it's a yes, Nyansa you be a team. That consensus, no, and a bit me strike out of it, you be a bit me a boy.
Okay. Mammy can wait quick one. Disclaimer, when Pacho way free open source and as a mention. Also mention urges the general public to disregard any reports attempting to associate the palace with the matters concerning the preparation for the burial and funeral rites of Mr. Charles Kojofosu, popularly known as Daddy Lumba. Timmy Pacho, I think it's even in a ream say mention bois abusia penyama why preparation towards the burial and funeral rites. Mention issue statement to say almost the more.
Na sakwa no den ha no
Tupagana.
Tasa o dwe hu a won tase am say abusuana am say wa hia ma e na obu form so na me abusu
na me anyo no aka me ti bi da say abusuapagi na si o meanwhile o hwe da the number ba panyi ya
No. When you're man, one will be form also. Now,
I don't look at penny yet if you have to what means papa.
Too far,
I think that
I am a lumber, you will go.
And cross the 7
maybe it's also almost easy fire. Almost any incident. Ammonia, laying in front of a chin. Because you know, and your money, and your day, the Beijing. Monse Mono Slade, and your Beijing, and no, AC Quanda.
All right,
and this statement here, or two for the Abai. I have you.
As I will finish it, you know.
Yeah.
Because most 30th. And I also say,
and then Sanka home. Until you by you know what it means.
And the year and then I year good year. Now, we see me about and the Moana Gamose be Bintino. Now, we say, baby, that's a Malamba with class 12 schools.
Okay.
Nami Yemei, Papa, wait here. Master Tribune
in Jansen, be a naso.
Jansen, anime, measure of Johnny, Mobeto, Masu sounds.
All right, let's see about Saturday. Saturday, Yanko Jaya Brazil, where they are Saturday or some maybe or some Chemi Mummy. Cocoa Town.
Hey, Bongomra, oh, and you had not be sure, yes, I can be a Kabuki.
But with the young kind, a bonus, Yana Jokore, which we are my Yana was the son of Pewani and I mean that Solomon Uswasi. Director of Communication for United Party UP Plus and Afe. So Ivan Kyei Innocent, a youth activist. Pacho Ochina, a Friday. Bye bye.